And welcome to the COMC Lake TV Community Spotlight Show. Of course, brought to you by the great folks at Central Ozarks Medical Center, where your health is their mission. And we've got a couple of special ladies with us here this week as we focus on National Crime Victims' Rights Week, right? And so it's Cara Gerdiman, Executive Director of Kids Harbor, and the lovely Sheree Keely, Executive Director of CADV, Citizens Against Domestic Violence. So thank you for taking the time to come and do this. You kind of pulled me aside at a dinner the other night and said, hey, we've got this National Crime Victims Week coming up. Can we talk about it? What a great opportunity to bring this up and let people know about this. So let's just start out with the basics. What is this National Crime Victims' Rights Week? What does that do?
So often we hear in media all about it, and just in the community, all about who is committing the crimes and those offenders. So Crime Victim Rights Week is a week that we can put the focus on victims and their rights and their needs in the spotlight. Okay,
and you guys are kind of covering both ends of it, you know, children, child abuse, adults mostly with domestic violence and stuff, so we kind of cover the whole gamut. It seems like our society has gone that way the last few years, maybe the last few decades, where sometimes the victims seem to be forgotten and more of the attention is on the rights of the abusers or the people who are committing the crimes. Is that kind of a true statement?
So with the victims, you don't necessarily want their names to be public.
Right.
So then, you know, when things are being reported on, they would be kept out. But from a victim's perspective, their rights were not respected when they were assaulted.
Right.
Whether it's domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse. And so when they get into the legal system, it's very confusing for them because the perpetrator or the offender has all of these rights in the legal system. Mm-hmm. And they're thinking, my rights weren't respected. But look, you know, why is this happening? Why don't they see this as not right, what happened?
Yeah.
So that's the part where our advocates, our teams really work hard to help the victim understand that it's a process we have to go through and just how that they can heal no matter what is happening from a legal perspective, and that we focus on facts. And, you know, they have a lot of emotion about what's happened.
Sure.
Of course, you know, reasonably. So it's just working through all of that. So I love that there's a spotlight on the victim's journey.
Yeah.
And because it takes a lot of courage for them to stand up.
Absolutely.
And take a legal action against their offenders.
Yeah, and it's almost like our society has gotten it a little backwards with the victims' rights being forgotten and stuff. And a lot of times, since they are anonymous in this, that even makes it a step further,
right,
where they kind of get forgotten. How do you guys, and you probably do it in different ways, or I don't know, might be same ways, how do you address the needs of victims that come your direction? Starting with you, how do you address those needs that the victims have after these crimes?
So we really look at what each individual victim needs and their caregivers. For us, we really have the child victim as well as their safe caregiver, because we want to make sure that the child's needs are met. And oftentimes, in order to do that, we have to make sure that the safe caregiver's needs are met as well, because they're often in a crisis as well as the child. So coming alongside them with our advocacy and figuring out what it is they need, connecting them with resources within the community or trauma-informed evidence-based counseling as well, to make sure that they can get the services that they need to help them heal.
What is a safe caregiver?
So a safe caregiver it may be a parent or guardian who is not an offender in the...
Not the abuser.
Not the abuser in the case. We call those safe caregivers.
Okay. And how about like for domestic violence? How do you help the victims of crime?
So it's a similar strategy. We talk about primary victim and secondary victim. So the safe person that she's talking about, they have an impact because their child was assaulted.
Yeah.
You know, so you are looking at what the individual needs are and trying to figure out a plan that helps all of them to heal. The ultimate goal is healing.
Yeah.
And so for us, going through the legal system is really taunting because they have to face their abuser in court. Ooh. And the abuser will do their antics. If it's stare them down, cry to try to get them to drop the charges, whatever that looks like. And the children in our situation are confused. Yeah. Sometimes they have opinion and they side with the parent. Most of the time they love their parents. And so they're trying to figure out how to make this work and what to do. So you might see acting out behaviors. So we're working with the parents on getting them in some counseling to try to support them.
Wow. There's a lot of crossover there with
Yes.
what both of you do, isn't there? Because it's
Absolutely.
families, it's adults, and it's children in a lot of situations. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but are there barriers out there that kind of stand in the way of supporting victims, helping victims of these different crimes?
Absolutely. And I think we talked a little bit about it in when a victim comes forward and the courage that it takes for that victim to come forward and talk about what happens or what has happened. But something that is often a barrier to that is so often that the abuser is someone, for children, it's someone that the child knows, loves, and trusts. Mm-hmm. So that person, there may have been threats that have been made as to whether or not it'll break up the family if you talk about it, or I'll hurt your pet, or any number of things. So those are often barriers in a child coming forward and talking about something happened. Also, sometimes what happens after may feel like a punishment to the child. So, if they're removed from the home or something, and they no longer have access to their stuff or, their room and all of the access that they have, and now they're in a foster home, which we have some fantastic foster parents in the community. But sometimes that's hard, and it's traumatic for kids. So helping them understand that and working through that to help them heal. And also giving them, that option to be able to talk and heal from those experiences.
It kind of reminds me of the old saying that sometimes it's better the devil you know than the devil you don't know, right? They don't know what is going to happen to them or where they're going to go or if they're going to have a bedroom or something like that. Barriers for helping domestic violence victims?
It's similar. There just are, of the cases, and I don't have these stats with me, Chris, but of the cases that actually report, those that go to successful prosecution, the rates are really low.
Wow.
So to take a stand, and we know for sexual assault in particular, most people do not report sexual assault.
Really?
It's the shame that they will go through, people knowing what happened to them, and in domestic violence, it's the same thing. They made a decision to get in this relationship. They've been emotionally beat down daily. Think about how would you feel if every day you were told you were worthless, you can't make a healthy decision, you're going to lose your kids if you say anything. And then you're supposed to rise up and stand up for yourself and for your children. I am amazed at the clients that do it because it takes an amazing amount of courage.
A lot of strength, amazing. Okay, so we're talking about some hard stuff here. We've got Cara Gerdiman, Executive Director of Kids Harbor, Sheree Keely, Executive Director of Citizens Against Domestic Violence. We don't like to talk about it. It's it's hard to think about, but it is there and it is real. And we are making people aware of National Crime Victims' Rights Week coming up in April. So we'll continue this conversation when we come back on the COMC Community Spotlight Show. At COMC, your health is our mission. Central Ozarks Medical Center offers 3 OBGYNs at the Osage Beach Clinic and 2 pediatricians with same-day appointments available. At COMC, our doors are open to everyone with 5 primary care locations conveniently located across the Ozarks. COMC for the best medical, dental, and behavioral health care. Get more info on how COMC can help you at centralozarks.org. COMC, where your health is our mission. Welcome back to the COMC Community Spotlight Show. We are talking about the National Crime Victims' Rights Week in April. It's the leaders of Kids Harbor and Citizens Against Domestic Violence, Cara Gerdiman, Sheree Keely. So it's very heavy stuff to talk about. A lot of times we don't want to look at it, but it's necessary that we do look at it and think about it. And if it weren't for what you guys do, it would be a lot worse. There would be a lot more suffering out there. So thank you for what you guys do. When we do get into it, it gets dark and it's heavy. Are there ways to prevent this? Are there things you can do on the front end to try and curb the problem of child abuse or domestic violence?
Absolutely. One of the things that we really strive to do is educate the community, and we know that kids are not responsible for their own safety. That's our jobs as adults.
Yeah.
We're here to protect kids. So educating, and we have programs to get out in the community that we can come to individuals or organizations and provide a Stewards of Children training or other trainings that we do. It's completely free, and we are happy to schedule that at anyone's convenience. It
kind of reminds me of an old saying, something along the lines of, it's easier to raise good children than to fix broken adults, right? Yeah. So prevention in domestic violence, is that possible?
Yes. So we have in our community, I think it's important to say that both of our organizations have been in place for a long time.
Yeah.
And not every community has that. For domestic violence, I think in Missouri, of all the counties, 50% have the services we have.
Wow.
50%.
Wow.
So first of all, it says a lot that our community has both
Yes.
a child advocacy center and a domestic violence program,
Yeah.
and that we do support the community. If we weren't here, the victims would be out in the community trying to get their needs met, which it doesn't work. So the coordination of our two organizations is really amazing for the community, and the fact that the community invests in us.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here if they didn't.
But you know, it also says a lot for you too. I mean, you're not fighting each other for funds. You're not working against, we're more important than they are or anything. You're working together. You're
Right.
collaborating, trying to help. And does do local officials jump in and help you? Do you get good help from the local officials as a general rule?
Yes, I mean, I know we both have advocacy days. We go to the Capitol, we talk to our reps, we talk about the work that we're doing, and I was just there last month talking to folks and talking about we serve victims of crime.
Yeah.
Just to keep that top of mind. It's, I think when people don't think of domestic violence as a crime, and so it's like raising awareness so that people know the work that we're doing has a positive impact on your community.
No doubt, yeah. And on lives. I mean,
Exactly.
individual lives make a difference between life and death, really, in both of. Okay, so down to our last few seconds. If folks want to get more information on both of your organizations, where would they go to find more about Kids Harbor?
So they can go to our website, kidsharbormo.org, or follow us we're on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and you can find us there as well.
Okay, and how about CADV?
They can go to our website at cadv-voc.org, or they can call 573-346-9630
Okay.
and talk to someone there.
And is that the victim's hotline?
No.
Okay.
That's just our
That's to get
organization.
in touch with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so go look them up. They're doing so much good in the community. Kids Harbor, CADV, Cara Gerdiman, Sheree Keely. Thank you, ladies. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us for Lake TV's Community Spotlight Show.